That's something I eventually kind of discovered with Tarkov. I was worried when I first started about not being able to interact with my chat so much. But yeah, you're not wrong. Like, it was harder in the beginning because I felt the entire raid. I could not look at chat. You know,
Yeah.
I was so like, you're just scared. Like any
Absolutely.
noise. I remember hearing a shot and like now it's like, oh my God, it was over by Big Red and I'm by ZB11. But like then I was like, oh, there's somebody right fucking next to us. We're gonna die. Like, you know, and they're like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, no, they're right there. I swear I heard it. You know, like it's just that sort of shit. And
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot better about it, but I was so on edge when I first started that I wouldn't like, I was like, I'm so sorry, Chad. I can't even fucking look at you for the next 30 minutes.
Yep.
So yeah, having that stash time was very nice so I could catch up and be like, all right, what did I miss the last 30 minutes, everybody?
Welcome to Tarducks, a podcast for content creators to come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And I'm super excited. I have TriangleFace. Welcome.
Hey, thank you.
So happy you're able to take the time and share your story with us.
I'm really excited to be here.
Excellent. All right. So the way we start things off is 3 random questions. So are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right. So first one, favorite thing about going to a baseball game?
The hot dogs.
All right. I just know this is going to go down from here.
Oh, let's do it.
You know, I just know I'm going to have, instead of your logo, I'm just going to have that parental warning you saw on all this compact discs back in the 90s, when NWA or Ice Cube. Yep.
Just throw a big censored bar right over the logo.
There we go. All right. So now, if you can live in any state, where are you living?
Texas.
All right. And final question, does pineapple belong on pizza?
No.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to end this podcast here because I'm a Canadian.
Listen, you can eat whatever you want. Whether I say it belongs there or not will have no effect on that. But like, I don't think it does. But if you want to eat that, you go for it.
There we go. All right. So how we got connected was Train was on the podcast a while ago, and she shouted out you as somebody who should come on this pod and share your story. How did you end up meeting her?
Oh, Lord. I think I met her through Blitz. And I'd heard of both of them before, like through the community.
Yeah.
I think I found Blitz through Evasion, like one of the tournaments.
Oh, okay.
And I had a connection through Evasion, so I was like, oh, let me check this bitch out. And then I didn't actually like connect with her until she raided me one day, like a year later.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to like play, and then we played, and then through that I met Train.
Oh, nice.
And played with her, and then we've all become really good friends.
Oh, excellent. All right. So let's jump into this. So who was TriangleFace before you discovered streaming?
Oh, TriangleFace before streaming was a very outdoorsy, outgoing, just fucking. I didn't even have a computer. Like I had a laptop maybe for school. Yeah, I built my first PC in late 2017. Yeah, I mean, I was into wildlife stuff and film, and was just always out and about doing stuff.
Oh, nice. Did you like shooting a certain subs, like shooting wildlife or nature?
Oh no, my my film background is very separate and different from my wildlife background. Yeah, I never actually wanted to combine them. It seems like the obvious choice, but I have zero desire to do that.
Okay. Now we're talking, film motion or photography?
Motion.
Yeah.
I like photography, but I didn't like study it.
Yeah.
Film is where I enjoy like the creating aspect of it.
Nice. Cool. All right. So gaming, where did video gaming start for you?
When I was really, really young, my dad tested out getting my sister and I like a PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
And he learned very quickly, we're not doing that again.
Why? What happened from that?
He just didn't like, he was very much one of those parents that was like, you're going to get outside and you're going to do stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like he got us PlayStation. We got Need for Speed. We got NFL Blitz, which by the way is still one of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
And like a fishing game. and he got us like little reel and stuff that you could do it with.
Oh, okay.
It was really cool, but we were playing it a lot, and he was like, no. So we didn't get another console until I think we got a Wii.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, because it's like more active,
Right.
which, you know, kind of, not really, but that was the argument at the time. And then I didn't really start like getting into gaming until kind of high school,
Mm-hmm.
like late high school. A couple of my guy friends, I'd never played COD Zombies, and they were like, I'm sorry, what the fuck? And I was like, yeah, I've never played. And they were like, okay, we're doing that. And I got hooked on Zombies, which was a lot of fun. It was a lot of screaming.
Yeah.
And then I bought my first console myself, which was a PS4 when they dropped on launch. And then I played Destiny, and here we are.
And now, over the years, any games that really stick out as your favorite,
I loved Destiny 1, like as far as a multiplayer. It had its, issues like any game does, but I think it's just because it was I played that game for 3 years, basically. So that kind of like community and that like love for it was there. But I also really loved PlayStation exclusives like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War. Really, really good games.
Oh, very cool. And now, when did you discover PC gaming? You said that was sort of later in life. You built your own computer.
Yeah. So through Destiny, I joined a clan. And I met a group of dudes that are super awesome. I'm still friends with them, like
Nice.
7, 8 years later, still in the clan Discord. And they all kind of started transitioning to PC. And at the time I was like, man, like, I don't think I could really just like get a PC for gaming, but I was like, well, I do need a rig to edit on for school.
There you go.
So I use that as kind of a, I don't know, just an excuse to go get a fucking PC for gaming. But I mean, to be fair, I needed more power within a PC for editing than I did for gaming. So it just happened to get like a really good gaming computer to edit.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's how I did that.
And now, what was the transition like from going console or a controller to mouse and keyboard, or were you still playing controller on Destiny on your computer back then?
Oh no, I definitely switched. I learned mouse and keyboard I kind of did Division a little bit to get that like third person, and I learned on PUBG, which was a really awful idea.
Oh wow. Okay.
I struggled so much in the beginning. Like holding your fingers over WSD gave me like my hand cramps and things.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like it was definitely rough. And I'm still trying to get my aim down, and it's been years, but but yeah, it's definitely got a lot easier, but it was a struggle at first for sure.
Yeah. I jumped into Destiny on the tail end of that, and it was a great game, but I missed out on the raids. You have to have 6 people. That's not that's not an easy thing to get it together and take that much time and a commitment from a whole group of people to buy in.
Yeah, I remember. So when I first started playing Destiny, I didn't know anybody that played. Right, I didn't have IRL friends that played, and I just played that game solo. And if you remember way back then, the light level cap was at level 30, and the only way to get to level 30, and I didn't know this, was to do raids.
Oh.
And I by myself made it to like light level 24, and I just got hard stuck, and I didn't know what to do because there wasn't any direction. Kind of like with Tarkov, like there's no fucking direction. You just do shit.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that a raid needed 6 people, and I remember loading into a raid, not realizing that it needed 6 people, trying to do it by myself. And I was like, fuck this. Like, this is fucking hard. And I remember I got stuck on like a exotic quest or something. And the public space in the game is called the Tower. And I was that fucking idiot. Well, I say idiot. I was just running around the tower, just inviting everybody to my group, my fire team, and messaging people like, yo, I just need help finishing this. Like, can you help me? And I actually met some friends that way. And then that's where my like friends like tree began.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
And then I found my people to raid with because I'd never done it. And they were like, you've never done it? And I was like, no, dude, I tried to do it by myself. And he was like, oh shit, we got you.
Nice. That's excellent. And now, when did streaming come into play? What made you hit that go live button?
I'm not sure exactly what like made me want to do it. To be honest, but I know that I watched a couple guys in my clan stream a bit, and I'd watch them play like PUBG and stuff and interact. I think my very first streams that I did, it was before I like started trying to stream for like for a community and to
Yeah.
build stuff. It was kind of like, if you stream in Discord, it's just so someone can watch what you're doing.
Right. Yeah.
It was like that, and it was Destiny. And it was mostly, again, just so people could just see the raid that I was doing or whatever. But yeah, it was in grad school that I was like, I think I'm gonna do the streaming thing, and I think it was the idea of community.
Yeah.
I I didn't realize at the time, but I was really, really like, I felt really lonely in grad school, and this kind of became my like happy place and people, and kept me social, and I ended up falling in love with it, and I love to entertain. So
Oh, nice. And so when did the name TriangleFace come to be known?
like just like when was that my gamer tag? Is that what
Yeah.
you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're familiar with a movie called Your Highness, it is my best friend and I's like favorite movie.
Okay.
It's a raunchy comedy with like James Franco, Danny McBride, Zooey Deschanel, and Natalie Portman's in it. And there's a quote in it. It's so dumb. He's just like, no, not triangle face, never triangle face. It scares me. And my best friend and I quote this all the time. And when I was sitting down on my PS4 that I just bought, I was like, I need a gamer tag. I need something. And we went through and we were like quoting that. And then all of a sudden she just said triangle face. And I tried to make it just that, and it wasn't. And 78 is my favorite number. So I just put triangle face 78. And then from then on, I've just always been triangle face 78.
Excellent. It's a unique name. And you know what? Yeah, that's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, and now that first time you hit the go live button and you had strangers come in, that's something people, you can't really, prepare for that. Like all of a sudden you got these strangers coming in. It's like, okay, how do I act? What do I say to them?
Yeah. I do remember like I was very nervous. Anytime someone new came in, because when you first start, like, not that every person now doesn't matter. It's just like early on, like everything is about that one person that's in there chatting. Because, there's not a lot else going on. And like, you're like, how do I get them to stay?
Right.
You don't want to scare them. You're like, like you're going to spook them or something. And, but also on top of that, like trying to still be entertaining when there's no one there.
Yeah.
That people like don't realize how difficult that is. Like, because when there's no one to talk to, like now that I've got a lot more people watching, like I can have a whole conversation with 2 or 3 people at a time, and like it's fine. We're just going.
Yeah.
But you're playing something solo and you're just starting and you don't have anybody really watching you, like it's really hard to get people to kind of come in and stay. And so I just I tried not to leave too much empty space.
Yeah.
And I just would start talking, like kind of to myself and just about the game or whatever. I was playing like Horizon Zero Dawn and would just, I don't know, talk about where I was going to go, what I was going to do. And, just like almost narrate what I was doing.
Yeah.
Might not be the best plan of action, but it was just how I got myself to like keep talking. That way, if somebody joined, like the idea was that if somebody joined, it wasn't to silence.
Right. That's a good idea.
It was to something active. And, I don't know if it ended up really like working or not, because I didn't grow until much later, but that was just the idea of it.
Okay. And now, was that the G version of TriangleFace back then, or was TriangleFace the way we have her today?
TriangleFace has pretty much been the same
Nice.
for a very long time. Yeah, I might have been a little quieter.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely was a lot more considerate of neighbors back then. It's funny, I'll look back on clips and I'll be like, oh yeah, let's go. And now I'm like full blown, like screaming. It's so different, like the whisper yell. And I was like, oh man, yeah, we definitely got louder. I think that's probably the biggest difference there, is just how loud we got.
Nice. Now I got to ask, so is the TriangleFace we see on stream, is that the same person at a Rangers game that's like, yelling and screaming, like, let's go, or you just more reserved out?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
If I see kids around, I try to be less vulgar.
Yeah.
Just I attempt. I'm sometimes I'm not the best at it, but like if there's a kid right in front of me, I like don't want to be that person that's like screaming like fuck right next to him,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I get loud at games. Hell yeah. Nice. I am all about like screaming for sports and shit. Like I love college football, and I would lose my voice after a game.
Nice. And now, do you catch a lot of college football games, or just more enjoy them on TV?
I haven't in a while. I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. Even in college, just because like I basically just spent the money on internet, and then what I could, I'd watch like Netflix if I wanted to watch something.
Yeah.
But while I was in my undergrad, I never missed a home game.
Oh, nice.
In 5 years or 5 seasons, I should say.
That's something cool about down here. I'm from Canada originally, and we don't have that love of sports, especially college sports, like you guys down here. And I've been to a couple of games where, like, my buddies were Air Force Academy grads, so we'd go up to Army, watch West Point and Air Force, and just the camaraderie, it's just something special going to games like that.
I think, yes, there is that, but I went to a college called Texas A&M, if you're familiar.
And vaguely.
Yeah, that school is so rich in tradition and community. It's insane. I love it so much.
Nice.
Like, I literally drive into College Station if I'm ever there visiting, and maybe it's because I went there. I don't know, but I just feel it. And I'm like, it's just so welcoming, and I love it. And we also, like, just at football games, it is just insane. We don't have cheerleaders, we have yell leaders.
Okay.
And they literally will lead yells that the entire like stadium will chant together.
Oh wow.
And it is the coolest feeling like ever to just feel like 40,000 plus people. I mean, the stadium holds 107,000, I think.
Yeah.
But the student section is usually like 40,000 or something.
Holy crap.
But we also have yell practices the night before games.
Oh, no way.
Where because there's what we call like I think it's like, fuck, now I've forgotten because it's been so long, but it's like a callback or something, where they do like a hand signal. So we have a gig'em symbol. It's basically like if you hold if you're trying to give somebody a thumbs up, it's very similar to that.
Yeah.
And that would be like the gig'em yell. And everyone holds it up, and then they have this like stance that they do, and then they count down from 3 and then go. And everybody is like, they know the yell, and you learn it and you go. And then during games, like, it is just, we get loud. And during like when we're on defense, that stadium is not quiet at fucking all.
Oh,
like,
wow.
You're just screaming the entire time. You're just yelling and just constant until like they throw the ball or the play's over.
Yeah.
And then you start again the next play, like until we're back on offense. It's just, you're yelling. Plus, you don't, if you're in the student section, you don't sit. It is like,
oh, okay,
sacrilegious to sit during a football game.
Yeah.
You only sit during halftime, but you stand for the band.
Yeah.
So it's very intense. Like we are very like like aggressively football fans, and it's fun. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So now back to stream. So what when did you start streaming? How long ago?
It was right after I got my PC, so early 2018.
Okay.
I think is when I did the first like kind of Discord stream style thing, and then I think it was like April, like a couple months later, that I actually started streaming.
And then you said you started streaming with Destiny. Was Destiny your main game, or were you trying different games while streaming at the same time back then?
So the very first stream was Destiny, and it was like just for my console.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any overlays, alerts, nothing. My first game that I streamed like when I was really starting was Horizon Zero Dawn. I played through that game I think like 4 different times, so it was just like another playthrough for me at a harder difficulty. And then trying to remember what I played after that. I very much was a variety like streamer before Tarkov.
Yeah.
And
now
I don't.
When did you start gaining a community? Like you said you streamed for a while where it was just like sort of flat, and then you got a community later. When did that sort of period start?
The community, I think the community started to grow kind of early, but it was like one person would join like at a time, like really slow, which is fine. But I think back when I started, not having a cam was like very taboo.
Oh, okay.
There was still that like people wouldn't click on your stream if you didn't have a cam. I mean, some people even do that now, which is fine, but like I mean, I've definitely been in a stream where somebody had no cam and it's not very entertaining, and at least for me, it wasn't my cup of tea.
Yep.
Because I think that you almost have to do something extra, and I guess I fucking do something, but I mean, it's not easy because like you don't have a face for people to also react to. It's just your voice. And yeah, I don't know. Some people just don't trust, I guess, that you're gonna be able to do that, so they don't click on it. So I did variety, and I found people playing like different games, and some people would come in while I was playing a game, join the community, and then you switch games, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
Some people will suck around. But I when I started playing Sea of Thieves, I think I kind of grew a bit there, and then Tarkov is what really I think blew up my channel.
Yeah.
Like to the size it is now. But yeah, it was just always like slow, kind of trickling in kind of community. But like as much as we want to grow fast as streamers and stuff, and we want to grow to a certain size, whatever, I look back and I'm so happy with the way that I've grown, because it seems to have, I would say, like, weeded out people that don't necessarily want to be there, but it's felt organic that the people that have stayed, like, this is a place that they can be, that we all, it's a community, right? Like, it's a solid community of people, because we all got a similar sense of humor, but more than that, like, we all, like, I don't know, like, give a shit about each other. And, you know, we don't do anything extra, but it just that kind of sense of, like, belonging here, and I love that.
Nice. And now, so are you looking to chase partner, or you're happy with, you know, with the stream and the way everything is going?
Partner's always been like a goal.
Yeah.
Ever since I kind of started streaming, you know, it's always been that thing that you're always chasing. It didn't really feel like a reality until, honestly, I think until I started playing Tarkov.
Yeah.
When I started to grow. But I'm not like pushing for it, I think I should say.
Yeah.
Because again, I want my growth to be organic, and not that, like, if you do partner push, all of a sudden it's not. It's just you get some people that come in just for the push, and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And like that's okay. Like if you achieve your goals, go for it. It's just, I guess it's just not how I want to reach it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I just kind of staying on my course, and you know, I definitely hope that we reach it, but it doesn't. It's an achievement. It doesn't do anything else, really. I mean, now there's like the Partner Plus program that you can achieve after. But it's just, right now, it's just an achievement, and it doesn't do anything specifically for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not like trying to push for it. I'm just, let's get there when we get there, and we'll hope for sooner rather than later, but we're going to keep on chugging on until then.
Nice. Yeah. Out of the 100+ people have been on, I've only had one person, who had reached partner status, and for them, it gave them validation, or they were really looking to get sponsors who had no real clue about streaming and Twitch. It was like, oh, that's a check mark. That means you're validated. Now we can, invest our brand into you and things like that. And really, that was like a really good answer why people would chase partner. But other than that, like you said, it's, there's no other big thing that goes along with that.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really done a lot of sponsorships, but I'm very sure that would be the case.
Yeah. And now, over the years, what's been the hardest thing about, hitting that go live button every time?
Sometimes if I, like, early on when I was variety, not knowing what to play.
Yeah.
Or if I wanted to play something I didn't have friends to play with, because again, like, when I didn't have a lot of people to talk to in the chat, that could be hard.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in school, exhaustion.
Yeah.
I pretty much did it every day, though. Like, I would always have something. When I was variety, I have so many games that I just pick one and go.
Right.
And if I didn't like it, I'd switch and play something else. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about varieties. Like, you're not locked into that game or the success or failure of a certain game.
Yeah. Definitely, like, they both have pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros of variety, like you just said, you can just kind of up and go, and the people that are there are usually going to watch you no matter what you're playing.
Right.
Or at least support you, even if they don't like the game you're playing. But the cons is growth. It is very difficult to grow when you're variety.
Yeah.
Whereas, kind of on the flip side, when you're in a category, you grow a lot more. And I think this is just my speculation on it, but it's just because when you're in that category and you start to kind of meet people within the community, your name now becomes like said and recognized. Yep. And you get rated by someone and someone's like, oh, I've heard of you from this person or whatever. And now all of a sudden it's recognizable, and then people can come in, or they've seen you play with their favorite streamer and things. Whereas I didn't have a lot of that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, or playing in like saturated categories when you're variety, like you go play COD because you want to. There's so many people playing COD, and
you're just another person 10 pages down. Yep. Exactly. So now 2 things off that. One is somebody who's not seen a TriangleFace stream, what are they in for that first time they're popping in?
Well, 1, turn the volume down, and 2, make sure you're wearing headphones if you're in a public place. We're very raunchy. I mean, extremely lewd, and we're very loud. You can expect that for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can expect to be laughing with us. But yeah, I mean, it's mostly going to be chaos and a shit show, with like every once in a while you'll sprinkle in like some godlike plays where all of a sudden I'll pull something out my ass that we're all very surprised happened. Otherwise I'm usually dead and back in lobby, and I'm very slow to get back into raids. So 30 minutes lobby, maybe 10 minutes in a raid.
All right, there we go.
Unless I'm playing with Train or someone, and they're just like, get in the lobby, trying. I'm like, like trying to get back in the lobby to keep up with those fucking Chad bitches. Like, goddamn.
Yep. And the second piece of that question, second piece I was going to ask you about, you mentioned about being rated. That is something that really nothing prepares you for. Somebody taking their, giant college party and dropping into your little house party. Now you're entertaining, hundreds or thousands of people.
Yeah. I remember getting rated. I was playing Witcher 3. I remember. Great game, by the way. Yes. I forgot her name, but it was like 50 people. And I was like, a little nervous. Like, oh God, I've never had this many people before. And you're like, oh God, you've got to say something. And you try to, if you're playing a game like that, I try to catch people up. Like, this is the quest that I'm doing, or I'm in the DLC, and keep going. But then I'd say not too long after that, I was I still am part of the Ducks stream team, if you know Josh OG.
Okay.
But he rated me, I think my second year of streaming, and that was like 2,000 people. Wow. And when I tell you my brain malfunctioned, it definitely malfunctioned. I was playing Wildlands. Tom Clancy's Wildlands.
Ghost Recon one, yep.
Yes. And it was a lot of fun. I couldn't focus. Like, I couldn't shoot shit. I just kept dying. And I was playing with a friend, and I literally was like, I can't do this anymore. And I literally just pulled up marbles, and we just played marbles. Because I just couldn't think. And then I also, when I play marbles, I like to do cast it basically.
Yeah.
And I
colorful casting.
Yes. And I name the different parts of the track based off of its shape. So there's definitely a butthole that they go through and things, and then you become the butthole commander if you make it through first.
There we go.
So things like that, and then we just get really hype about it. But I mean, that worked out to a degree because everyone loves marbles, I feel like, and it gave me a chance to kind of interact with them and not be split focus.
Yeah.
That's actually really hard early on, is to work on the split focus. I still struggle with it, but with that many people, I'm like, oh God, I couldn't.
No, you can't. Not with that many people. Chat's flying by. How do you you can't.
Yeah. That was really cool to see, because when that raid happened, it was the coolest feeling to see the chat do that, but it was all the duck emotes, so it looked like chat was flying.
Oh, okay.
And that was one of early on on Twitch, was a community that I joined, and was there a lot and watch him every day. And so that was just to kind of be, I don't know, roped into it even for a minute, felt really fucking cool to see, and it just makes me really feel good. So when I raid people, every once in a while I'll try to, you know, tell chat like, hey, if you're able to stick around even for a minute just to toss some emotes and just make chat kind of move, it means a lot to the person that you're rating, I feel like, because I know it does for me. Like even now, like I don't care the size of the raid, the fact that somebody chose me to send their community to, it's notable and it's very, very kind.
You know, you hit such a good point there. Like, you know, the odd time that I've streamed, I had Friendly Guy raid me, and with 40 or 50 people come, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. But then handing whatever was left after that, handing that off to, like, I just, like, you know, who's playing Tarkov? Oh, the person's got 3 people. And it's like, there you go. And the face, just is like, oh my God, it's like you just did them the best thing of the day or the week. It's just such a cool thing. And to be able to do that, you know, every time you go streaming, it's got to be, that, you know, really got to make you feel good.
Yeah, I do love doing that every once in a while. I know, like with Train, I met a guy in Raid. We became friends with him.
Yeah.
And we found out he streamed, and then we both ended up raiding him after and helped him get affiliate. It's always nice to just, like, I don't know, help the good ones. Not that like there aren't more good ones out there that I haven't been able to help, but like it's so nice to see and to help someone kind of even just kind of kickstart, you know, that little jump.
Right.
This industry is all about opportunities and capitalizing on them. So any luck you can throw someone's way is always good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And now, you know, talked about the hardest thing. What's been the highlight for you ever since, you know, finding that going live button, creating your community? What are some things that really stick out for you?
I mean, community, big one. I love this community, and anytime something like good or bad happens, like good things, I can't wait to share it with them. Bad things, you know, I let them know. Like to a degree, I'm still private about a lot of stuff, but I don't know. It's like they're kind of collectively like another really good friend. But I've also met some of my best friends now online.
Nice.
And that's been really cool. It's been a bit of a change because I've always been pretty closed off online. But yeah, I love I love my friends, and they're fucking awesome, and I'm just incredibly lucky to have met them because I don't think I ever would have otherwise. They're all over the fucking world, and I don't think there's one person that I'm really close with that lives in my state.
Wow. Now, isn't that the coolest thing, though? You take this video, you know, you just fire up your video game, start streaming it, and now you've built a community all over the world, and, you know, you're like that local bartender now. You hop on, and, you know, your friends show up, and it's just, it's your own community.
Yeah, and I love sharing, like, the experience with everyone. So, like, you know, when something good happens, and they're there to witness it with you.
Yeah.
It's so cool. And, like, then they're hyping you up. Like, it feels so good.
Absolutely.
I mean, it does suck when you fuck up and they're like, hey, bitch. And I'm like, stop! You didn't see anything. But yeah, like, it's always really nice to, like, have people, like, you know, be there to also witness when you pulled something out your ass and you're like, holy shit, did you just see that? I hit that.
And now somebody hitting the go live button for the first time or coming on streaming, you know, any advice for them?
Just about like streaming in general, or
you know, what things, you know, should they, you know, don't focus on the numbers, as I hear from a lot of people.
I mean, I think this is kind of, I guess, going past like the initial going live, but kind of finding your niche as a streamer. Sometimes you pull from other streamers, like, oh, you like something that they do and you want to implement that into your stream, which is okay. I mean, copying someone outright, I don't think so. But I mean, like, if you like the way a streamer interacts with their community, but you also like the way somebody plays their game and things, like, and you find your niche and what works for you and what's comfortable for you. Trying to be something that you're not will not get you, I think, very far, in my opinion. If you go the route of like Dr. Disrespect, where you like put on a persona and you go, like, that's fine if that's like your niche, if that's what you want to do and you're able to kind of keep that up. Yeah. I went the route of just being me, and because I'm comfortable being me and it's easy, and I just try to go with it. I will say, when I first started, I went more of the competitive aspect, but like I said, I'm pretty much like an average player, just above average player, and with like the sprinkle of like random badass shit. Yeah. So when I was going the route of competitive stuff, it didn't really hit, because when you go competitive route, people are looking for the Shroud players and that are just badass all the time. And I realized pretty quickly that that wasn't my niche, and that I was going to be me, and I want to make people laugh, and my humor so like is very much my niche, and we'll do the badass stuff too, but like it's about like making people laugh and smile. So yeah, I don't know, just find your niche.
And you know, doing that competitive thing takes you away from focusing on your chat and sort of being closer to your chat. You know, if you're that head cracker competitive person, you're focused on your game 80% of the time, if not more. And so that's who you are. That's your thing. But I don't think your community becomes a close knit place like, you know, a lot of, you know, like what you have today.
Yeah, I mean, because some people go the route of like they really focus on mental health and sharing that, or like this is a safe space, that sort of thing. You know, a lot of people, some people like super PG. I don't talk in those streams because I will fuck up, which is fine though. But like, this was so unique about Twitch is that there's a place for everyone, and you don't have to leave your room,
right?
If you don't need to, and it's really cool to do that and just kind of pick your corner of the internet that is you and you're unique, and go from there and jump at every opportunity that comes your way. Capitalize on those things, because in this industry you could go a year or more without anything coming your way. But just when you do, try to make the most of it.
And now you hit a good point there. You know, having everybody can have their own niche. Do you ever come across where somebody comes into your chat and is like, oh, you shouldn't be swearing, or, you know, those type of people come in, or they, you know, they come in and they realize where they are and they get, you know, they move on?
I can recall once. I don't get a lot of that, fortunately.
Good.
I've been really lucky online, especially as a female, that I haven't had to deal with it. I will say it's probably because of no cam, but I've played the banger. I don't know if you've heard that in our stream. Oh, well, I'll send you the link after.
All right.
Some people from the community, his name is Usato, and he had Badger come in and help him. They made a song using sound bites of myself and Midnight Luna. And it's like, I mean, literally like the thing on repeat is like, and then I fucked him. And just, you know, there's more, but you get the point. And I played it. And some guy, I think he was like first time, and he called me a whore for playing that on stream. And I was like, I don't think that's how that works, dude. But like, he was so upset with like that, it was even said. And I was like, this is just not the place for you, dude. Like but I wasn't offended. I was just like, dude, like this just isn't your place on the internet. Like, and you know, banned him, got him out of there. But it's just like, when people like that do come in, it's like, I don't understand why they feel the need to comment, because if it's not your place, it's not your place. Like, if you don't like it, then just literally it's free to watch or not watch. Just go somewhere else. You can just click somewhere else. So yeah, it was more of just like, hey, you just revealed that this isn't your place, and I don't want you around. Chat doesn't want you around. Because I mean, I genuinely just wasn't offended, because I was like, dude, honestly, you're a fucking idiot. Bye. Like, you know, because some people don't like the raunchy sense of humor, and that's totally okay. And my stream would not be for that person at all. And that's okay. That's totally fine. Just click away. There's no need to try to tear somebody down. Because there's other streams out there that it's just not my kind of content. But like, you do you, kick some ass, keep going and creating. So
now let's talk Tarkov. What was your path to that game that has no instruction manual, that you have no idea what you're getting into? I
had been told for, I think, a couple years before I even started playing that I should try it. And I was like, I don't know, because chat interaction is a big thing for me. And I had tried to watch, and I realized like, you don't get a lot to interact with chat because you're so focused on the raid and trying not to die. So I didn't really like it. I think one of the first people I remember watching was somebody on the Duck stream team with me. His name Sammy, Slammy Sammy. And I watched him play it a little bit, and then I watched, I think, Lupo play a little bit, and I remember watching him like pick up a light bulb or something, and he was like excited to find it, or someone was, and I was like, why the fuck are you excited about finding a fucking light bulb? This game's fucking stupid. Like, what? And I didn't play it at all. And then a couple years ago, it'd be almost 3 years ago now, somebody had mentioned it again, and I had someone teach me the game. And that's the only reason that I still play this game. If I didn't have someone teach me, I would not have continued. They taught me, like, they told me, okay, what kind of stuff do you need to bring? Minimal, like, you need a gun, you need armor. If you want a helmet, ears, here's the different types of heals that you need. Because I joined right when they added heavy bleeds and light bleeds.
Oh, okay.
So I learned all of that at once, which is a bit overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, though, once I figured out how I learned best, it was great, because as soon as I was like heavy leads, like all this stuff, and I couldn't remember S march, right? Like, just I could see the picture, and so I was like, all right, I have heavy bleed, I need a heavy tampon, and so that's what I named it. And then I have a light bleed, I need a light tampon, and that's how I learned like heavy bleeds, light bleeds, and I just named them that so that I could figure it out. And oh my god, as soon as I did that, it clicked, and I was like, okay, we got this. But yeah, like, having someone kind of hold my hand essentially and walk me through was essential, because I can't even imagine, and I have mad respect for the people that did this by themselves.
Oh god.
Loading into a raid and having no idea where the fuck you are and how the fuck to get out of there.
Yep.
I would find that so aggravating. I probably wouldn't have even made it through one raid. I would have just left and been like, I'm not playing this game anymore.
Oh, absolutely. Without that wiki, the Tarkov wiki and videos people have made, I don't know if this game would have the popularity that it would.
Yeah. There's a lot of resources out there, which was really nice and helpful. I was linked a lot of that when I started streaming.
Yeah.
I mean, chat, they're very helpful as well. And early on, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one of the first times I played solo was actually Woods, and I went into an offline raid because I was like, all right, I had a map, and I was like, I just want to like see what is on the map, so I could at least reference what it actually looks like. So I'd be like, chat, is this what this is? And they'd be like, yes or no or whatever. But it got a little overwhelming when people are like, oh, you passed a stash, and I'm like, I don't care about the fucking stashes right now. I'm just trying to figure out where I need to go and what my fucking extracts are, because I needed to go get something out of like a cabin. I think I forgot which task it was, and I wasn't even thinking about Sturman. I remember once I got off the offline raid, I got the like outskirts spawn, and I was like, oh, I know this one, and just sprinted. I thank God Sturman wasn't there. I'd been blown away. I just sprinted straight to the cabin and then fucked right off to extract and didn't look back. I was so scared.
And now, what is the hook it has had on you since, once you got the hang of the game?
I love a good grind in a game. Like when I do play COD, I love the camo grind. That can be a little repetitive, but I love the achievement of it. And Tarkov, like, people talking about Kappa when I first, and I was like, what the hell is that? And they're like, it's basically like, at the time it was kind of like complete all the tasks idea, and you get this reward. And I was like, well, I want that. I'm going to do that. Plus the challenge of some of those tasks, like, they changed it this way, but Tarkov Shooter 8 was a real big challenge for me.
Yeah.
My first wipe, it took me 10 hours on stream. And then the next wipe, it was my third raid.
Oh,
so
wow.
But I hated bolties my first wipe.
Now is 8 the one where you got to get 3 headshots on Woods in the same raid?
Yes, it was initially it was kill 3 PMCs in a single raid.
Yes.
On Woods. Now it's I don't actually remember, but you can do it on any map and over multiple raids, which is nice.
That is nice.
But so you're just sprinting around Woods. That's actually how I learned the map really well. Was doing that because I was just sprinting everywhere, and I started to kind of recognize my surroundings by repetition. Because it's a lot of trees, a lot of woods, and. Yeah, that one was probably my favorite to like overcome. It was frustrating as hell first wipe, but and I hated bolt actions. I was god awful with them. But then like that one became one every wipe that I would set like a new goal, and I always wanted to complete it on the first try. That was my own personal goal.
Yeah. And
I eventually did, and then I technically did it back to back that year, or that wipe I should say. I had Tarkov Shooter 7, got 3 bolty kills, and I was like, oh fuck, of course now, because I finished Tarkov Shooter 7 that raid, and I was like, damn, like I technically just did 8, but I didn't have it unlocked.
Right.
And I felt like I was kind of on fire, you know, like you had that zone, and it was super late, but I was like, fuck it, we're going. And I did it again the next raid, so I did it like back to back, which felt super awesome. And I was like, how the fuck do you even top that? Like, so yeah, like that one, like just those challenging tasks. I don't like I don't know, there's some that are just like difficult for just the sake of being difficult, and I don't like those. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
But those that kind of challenge you and how you have to play is good. I like those.
Yeah. And now, do you prefer to play solo or with other people?
Oh, with other people for sure. Earlier, when I played, I actually didn't mind solo nearly as much. Like while I was tasking, because I had that goal, and when you got a lot of people tasking, it can be a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
And they were still kind of new to me and all that, and that was fine. Now I'm on my sixth wipe. I'm kind of bored of the same shit.
Yeah.
So I do them, but it's just so repetitive that I'll get bored if I play solo. So I play with people, especially after Kappa. This game's great, but I cannot play it solo for very long. Like I get bored so fast. I mean, sure, you might have that one raid where you like somehow like 1v5 and win or something. That feels great, but those I feel like are kind of few and far between.
Yep.
So usually I run in and die, that's just because I'm not a super careful player anymore.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I just get pretty bored, and I also just get annoyed. So. And that's not very entertaining, so I just don't play solo very often.
And now, when you're playing with others, do you prefer like duos, or are you crazy enough that you run 5-mans?
Duos is my preferred route, but trios. I think at that point it kind of depends on the people.
Yep.
Like I love trioing with like Blitz and Train. I always find that really fun. Or like we'll have Sparksy in like Train, or like Nyx and Rolatar, Nyx and Trash or Sick, like that kind of like combination is always really fun. 4-mans, it gets like I don't know. I have to be like in the right mindset for that, and same with 5-mans. I'll pretty much do like 1 5-man a wipe.
Yeah.
I actually did one already this wipe, and it somehow went relatively well. Wow. There was no TKs and
oh shoot.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think all of us survived one raid together, but 4 of us got out a couple times, which was pretty great.
Absolutely, yeah. Because this, if Tarkov has shown us anything, it's how bad we are as communicators.
Yeah.
And then the other piece of this too, when you play with somebody you haven't played with, the callouts. Everybody calls out different things inside of the map differently, and that's always a thing that to try to get used to.
Yeah, I feel bad for anybody that plays woods with me that hasn't ever before. I have names. I have named the rocks on woods and made a whole fucking video on it, because as I started to play woods and realizing that was like my favorite map and I'd play with other people, I got so tired of being like, they're by that one rock that I died to the M1A like 2 raids ago. You remember? Yeah. And by the time you've said all that, they've moved or seen you and you're dead. And I was like, okay, this one's Uhtred. This one's Bob. Like we named it. And there's no like necessarily rhyme or reason to their names as far as like relative to the map. It's just, I was watching The Last Kingdom on Netflix and was obsessed with it. So Uhtred and Alfred became things. And then chat have picked, I think, Dwayne the Rock. And yeah, and then there's like a smaller rock that's Kevin. We don't use Kevin very often, but yeah, there's just like all those sorts of things. And one time we didn't know what to name one, so we just called, I think it was like Liz that was just like Bob, and I was like, okay, fine, that's Bob. But it does help, like that. As ridiculous as it sounds, it helps so much when people know, even if somebody doesn't call it like Bob, right? Yeah. But I know what they call it and they know what I call it. They could be like, they're at Susan, and I'd be like, okay, I know what Susan is to them. Yeah. It helps. It makes it so much more efficient when you're trying to fight and to try to snipe, because you can immediately be like, okay, I can get this angle or whatever, instead of trying to figure out what the hell they're talking about. It's so nice when you're playing woods and people, you can communicate like that.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a bunch of, great people. Some of them have been on the pod. I saw a tweet that you actually played with GamesWDeath, who's been who's a friend of mine, and he's a character too, isn't he?
Oh, he is, dude. I think I don't remember exactly how I met him. Maybe through Sigma. But yeah, like he was a lot of fun. I definitely need to get games in with him soon.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. He tried to play Hunt with me, and that was my like third attempt at trying to like the game, and I just couldn't. Which makes me sad because that would be fun to play with him. But the game's just so clunky, I can't get into it. It's really fun to watch.
Yes.
It's so cool. Like, don't take anything away from the game. I just cannot play it.
Yep.
But yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the music, the environment is just so cool. But it does not grasp. It doesn't grab me like Tarkov does.
I was always getting so frustrated because I would, they're basically all like single shot guns, pretty much. And the switching between guns is like 10 to fucking 15 business days. And like, it's so fucking frustrating because in Tarkov, it takes about the same time to switch guns, but they're full auto and you got 30 to 60 bullets to shoot.
Yeah.
In that game, like I'd hit a shot and I'd be trying to switch weapons and I'd die and I would lose my fucking shit because like I was hitting my shots, I was doing everything right, and I was, I just couldn't do it.
Yep.
It made me so mad because I just couldn't do it. I do like how long the gunfights feel.
Yes.
There's a lot of aspects I did like. I just could not get over that like clunky and like how long it felt to do stuff.
Yeah. And I'm right there with you with increased magazines because I'll tell you what, when you get over 40 or 50 like I am, I need those 50 and I need those 60s because I need a full
accuracy
clip.
by volume. I'm right there with you.
And now you mentioned Nyxia. She is a fantastic person, and I see you're part of the chadettes. Do you want to talk about what the chadettes are?
I haven't been too involved in the chadettes, to be honest. Well, one, I do love Nyxia. She's fucking awesome, and like my spirit animal. She's great. I do love that she like kind of started that and brought this place to like female badass bitches playing Tarkov.
Exactly.
I think it's become a place, from what I can tell, that a lot of those female content creators have been able to come together and meet new people and just that kind of community there itself. And although I haven't like utilized it a ton, it is really cool to see like that happen within the community. And honestly, I'm super proud of Nyx for that kind of shit she does. It's not even just that, like the stuff she does with her own community, and she should be proud, and I'm very proud of her.
Excellent. Yeah, the one really cool thing I thought it was a great concept when she was on and she talked about is the fact that, the chadettes, you guys have sort of your own Discord, and if you got some asshole in one chat, right away it gets filtered out to everybody. Hey, heads up, XYZ, and I think that's just such a great thing to have.
Yeah, it's again providing a safe space for people. It was really, really cool. And even if like you're not super active, you can check those places. You can kind of pick and choose what you want to pay attention to in there.
Absolutely. So now back to Tarkov. It has a unique aspect. You have your stash. Now, as a streamer, are you one of these people that make sure your stash is all neat and organized before you hit the go live button, or you're like, all right, it's a cluster. It's a part of my stream.
Oh, it is very much a part of my stream. It is a clusterfuck. I used to be way more organized with it. This wipe, I just kind of can't be fucked.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm pretty OCD with my stash normally. But this wipe, I still auto sort, and it makes me so angry that I do because I don't like auto sorting. I just cannot be fucked to like organize my stash. But yeah, like I do it on stream. It gives me a chance to talk to everyone. It's kind of like the just chatting part of it while I do something. And again, because like I don't have a cam, it gives them something to watch while we're just talking. If I'm like just starting, it does get in the way a little bit if I start and I'm like need to play with, like, if I'm starting to play right away with people and I'm like, oh, give me 20 minutes.
Exactly.
But yeah, like I don't mind cleaning my stash with chat. I usually like try to at the end of the stream, if I'm not quite done, I'll vibe. I'll kind of let me sell some stuff, and I might run a scav and then sell that and just chat. It's nice.
It is. It's and when Pest came on, we were talking about how Tarkov is such a great game to stream because it's not like full go the whole time. You have these moments, whether it's in your stash, loading in the lobby, getting out, or moments in the game where it's quiet. You can interact with your interact with your community and chat.
Yes. That's something I eventually kind of discovered with Tarkov. I was worried when I first started about not being able to interact with my chat so much. But yeah, you're not wrong. Like, it was harder in the beginning because I felt the entire raid. I could not look at chat. And I was so like, you're just scared. Like any noise. I remember hearing a shot and like now it's like, oh my God, it was over by Big Red and I'm by ZB11. But like then I was like, oh, there's somebody right fucking next to us. We're gonna die. Like, and they're like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, no, they're right there. I swear I heard it. Like it's just that sort of shit. And I've gotten a lot better about it, but I was so on edge when I first started that I wouldn't like, I was like, I'm so sorry, Chad. I can't even fucking look at you for the next 30 minutes. So yeah, having that stash time was very nice so I could catch up and be like, all right, what did I miss last 30 minutes, everybody?
And so, that's one thing about, I miss early Tarkov or, when you're not used to the game, those pucker moments that only Tarkov you get from, like you said, you hear a gunshot and it's like, oh my God, I don't want to move.
Yeah. I feel like I've become numb to some things. Just over time. It's still there. Like there's still a reason I still play this game. It's you're chasing, I feel like the good moments, like when I somehow pull out that, 5v1 or something. Doesn't happen super often, but I mean, I just say like last month I was in dorms and I killed 7 people. And they just kept coming. I ended up dying to an 8th one that was somehow there hiding. Like I have no fucking idea. There was just so many people and I was just like, holy shit. Like they kept coming and, but I ended up dying, which was sad. But I was also just like, I didn't care. Like that was a hell of a fight. Like it's those types of things. It doesn't even be that big, but like, even if you get like a good fight with someone, even if you die, it just feels good to like have some good PvP. And I feel like that's become less and less. And I don't know if that's just because I played more and more or if that's like the way that the game is going. I think honestly it might be a bit of both, but you chase those moments.
And I really believe only Tarkov gives you those moments of when you're like cat and mouse somebody for whether it's 5 minutes or up to 15 minutes. It's just like when it's over, it's like that's why I play this game.
I remember early on people always asked me what my favorite map was, but it was my first wipe and I was like, I don't even know. I barely even know where an extract is on customs. But after I got Kappa that wipe, the only map that I wanted to play by myself was Woods. And I kept trying to be like, why the hell do I like Woods out of all these others? And I realized that it was the closest feeling to hunting that I've experienced since I'd been hunting. And I hadn't been able to go hunting in a while because I was in school and, that's money and time and then just didn't have it. And that was that feeling of like being like listening and hearing something and then either waiting or rotating to like get it. Like it was that, but it was in this game. And I was like, that feeling, I loved that feeling. And again, it's kind of like less there now just because you just played it so much. But yeah, like it was the closest feeling to like hunting that I'd had in a long time.
Very cool. And now, speaking of, where the game is, what's your opinion of the sort of the state of Tarkov these days?
I think Tarkov's in a rough place. The sound right now, as I'm sure you've seen or heard.
Again.
I really hope that by changing like the system that they use for sound, that it becomes better than what it was. That that the potential there is there, but man, it is rough right now. I loved Shoreline, like Resort PvP, and I can't stand it right now because you just don't like you don't even hear people, or you can't tell what they're on the roof, and you're in the basement. So audio right now it's really difficult to play sometimes because it's so frustrating. Desync I think is always kind of been there. Sometimes I feel like it's worse. Sometimes I feel like it's not. I don't really know exactly where it's at relative to the past. It's still a fun game, but like, people talk about recoil, like aim punch right now, I think is Jesus Christ, dude. I get hit once with like fucking green tracer in the chest and I'm looking at the fucking moon. And I'm like, what the? I'm wearing a fucking slick. Why am I looking up there?
Yeah.
You know, like there's all those like little things. I will say they've done those quality of life updates they did with the wipe, like the screen now with the vendors and
Yeah. Oh,
the
yes.
traders.
Yep.
That changed. Oh god, that was huge. And like just some of those like little quality life, when they added the sorting table, that was a huge win.
Yep.
Like things like that, or being able to like just sell from your scav.
Right.
Like if you don't have room, you can just sell instead of just wasting it.
Yep.
Little things like that I think that they have done really well in implementing. I try not to always look on the shitty sides of things. But yeah, I think if sound could be so much better. And I don't know, they keep tweaking like inertia and things. I didn't mind inertia that much. It does cuck me sometimes, but I think they've wanted to like slow things down, but I think it is kind of encouraged the player base, or not encouraged, but like almost made people feel like they have to like sit and wait. I understand this game is not COD, so I'm not necessarily looking for that, but I want people to fucking move.
Right.
You know, it sucks to die to a bush, and that seems to happen more and more.
Yeah. And it's you know, it's got to be so hard to try that, you know, to try that balance, to find that balance, you know, keep cheaters away, and you know, it's just I don't envy them.
Assaulted on so many fronts.
Yeah.
And I'm not a developer, right? So like I don't know all the shit that goes into it, and I try to remind myself of that when I'm upset about something.
Yeah.
Fixing sound by itself sounds like, oh, just fix it, right? Yep. I am sure that is some complicated shit. Oh, yeah, and there's many people working on it. I'm just speaking as a player playing the game, right? I hope that they get it fixed, but you know, I'm sure on the other end, that is a much bigger ask than just saying fix sound.
Yeah, it's not like a switch you throw. There's
exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I try to be mindful of that. Like I don't know what all goes into it, but I love that, you know, how passionate a lot of them seem to be about the game and the community, and I just, you know, I can only hope for the best.
Yeah. And speaking of community, you know, you see a lot of negativity on the community. I still think we do have a great community. There's a lot of good people around streaming and in the Tarkov's place.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think with any kind of community, either game related or not, like you're gonna have the good ones, and you're gonna have people that you don't feel are that great and don't contribute too much to like the positivity.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, I avoid usually like, you know, like Twitter drama and stuff. I find, I try to avoid it at all costs. It's not, it takes too much energy away from my life that doesn't need to be taken away. I've got so much other shit that I need to be focused on and deal with. So like if people want to do that, that's fine, but don't bring me into it, and I stay the hell out of it. So
life is better that way. Now, are you looking forward to Arena coming out?
I think so. After watching some of the stuff from TwitchCon, that seemed pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't initially like super like not excited or not excited either way. I was kind of indifferent to it, but because when I PvP right now in Tarkov, there's that kind of aspect of I might lose my gear if I lose this fight, whereas in Arena that it's a different kind of PvP.
Yep.
So I was like, I don't really know how I'll like it in that sense. But after like kind of seeing how it is, I don't think it's going to replace that kind of PvP. I'll still want a PvP like in the kind of survival part of Tarkov.
Right.
But I think it'll have its place next to it that I might enjoy.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll see.
Excellent. And now, you know, when you're not playing, you're not streaming, you know, what are some of the things you like to do?
Honestly, at this point, I don't get out too much.
Yeah.
I hang out with my best friend, my IRL best friend.
Nice.
That's probably the main thing. Have lunch with my dad and a friend of mine. But I mean, if I am able to do something I want to do, like hunting and fishing are big ones. I haven't been able to go in quite some time, but I do love getting out and doing that sort of stuff.
Now, if you can go hunt for anything, what are you hunting?
Oh, I've really wanted to hunt a muskox.
Oh, okay.
Or a moose.
Yep.
Those are some big ones.
They are very big ones. You know, up in my neck of the woods where I'm originally from, you know, in Canada, moose in a car, moose wins most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I really want to get like the big five in Africa. Like, there's so many. There's like the Grand Slam here in the States. There's so many. Like, I've shot a springbuck in Africa, and there's different variations of it. I've shot the common one, but there's also like the black one, and there's like a series that you can, when you it's like the Grand Slam of springbucks, and like I've always wanted to do that. There's so many fucking animals that I still want to go shoot. Like it's like my bucket list to like shoot everything I fucking can. I say that within reason. Like, obviously, I'm a big conservationist, so like I'm not going to go try to shoot an endangered animal, to clarify, because I feel like somebody might think that.
You never know today. Yep.
Yeah, hunting is conservation, and that's like as much fun as it is to do the hunting aspect. I definitely I was raised to make sure that the animal was utilized as well.
Yep.
So like when I was in Africa, I couldn't take the meat home, but we donated everything to food banks.
Oh, nice.
We got to take a piece for ourselves to eat that night.
Yeah.
But everything was going to food banks. Like, we make sure that the animal is utilized somewhere.
Yeah.
So that I don't know. I want to shoot everything that I can, and again, share where I can. And enjoy the hunt, but also make sure it's not just a trophy. Yep. It's more than that.
It's utilized.
Yes.
Yeah. And now, speaking of that, what is the strangest animal you've eaten? I was going to say meat, but that would just, I don't know where that, just leave that alone. Because I'm talking to you. So I was like,
strangest meat that I've eaten. Well, I'm just kidding.
I don't know why I do this.
I'm trying to think the strangest animal I've eaten. I mean, I've had ostrich.
Okay.
Gator? Yes.
Oh. Okay.
I haven't killed a gator yet. But I've had gator. I've had rattlesnake.
You're a brave one. I am. Oh my God.
Oh, I'll eat. Like, I will try anything when it comes to food. I'm not going to guarantee that I won't spit it out if I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I'll try it. And I've tried some weird shit. I've literally eaten live crabs.
Wow.
And like, they're like quarter-sized crabs, not like they're not the size of your fist.
Right.
But you like let them crawl in and out of your fucking mouth, and then you just fucking bite them. Like shit like that. I've eaten octopus, like raw, like the tentacles, like little baby ones. I mean, I've eaten a lot of weird shit. I don't know. It's always unique. I mean, I've had like uni, which is like sea urchin.
Yeah. Very cool.
I've had bull balls. That's one. Yeah.
All right, we'll leave that one as probably the strangest one.
Yeah. Rocky Mountain oysters, calf fries, the same name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
I'd say that out of all that, that actually is probably the strangest. The bull balls.
Now, do you ever go to any conventions or anything like that? Incognito, of course, but like TwitchCon,
like streaming conventions?
Yeah, TwitchCon packs or anything like that?
No, I haven't. I definitely get FOMO.
Yeah.
But knowing me, I tend to have a very unique laugh or something. I'm gonna laugh because I would want to be around people that I know.
Yeah.
I would gravitate towards that, I'm sure. And if I laugh, dude, it's fucking over. And I just
head snap around. It's like, oh, I know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, and maybe I'm like, I overthink this sort of shit, but yeah, I mean, it's just, I would be so like nervous and uncomfortable that I was like, I don't think it's worth like going to that.
Yeah.
I've only just in the last like 2 years, I think, become more and more comfortable with meeting some of my closer friends on here.
Oh, nice.
So going to like a convention would probably like, I might have a heart attack.
Yep. And now, any plans for the year or, Christmas time or anything like that? Any goals you're trying to hit?
Well, I'm actually trying to make a trip to Australia.
Oh, nice.
To meet Train and Blitz, which would be really fun.
Yeah. So you're going to convince Blitz to go to Australia too?
She's already planning. Like they were already doing that. I would just basically, I'm like, hi, I'm coming too. But I would really love to go back to Australia if I could.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe something along the way. I'm a
Yeah.
pretty spontaneous traveler. Like if I don't know, if I didn't have any plans, something wipe wasn't happening, and maybe my sister was like, "Yo, you want to go fishing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Sure, we'll just fucking go, and we'll just drive or hop on a plane and go somewhere."
Awesome.
So hopefully,
Cool. Well,
yeah.
TriangleFace, you've survived the podcast, and it was wonderful. I loved your story, but before I let you go, you got to shout out somebody who you think would have a good story to come on and share with us.
I don't think you've had either Hay Bales or Miss Trash.
No, actually, Miss Trash, we're working on. We're talking, so Miss Trash is on her way.
Those two bitches are definitely people that I think you should talk to.
All right.
Two of my really good friends as well, and they're just awesome people, and I think you should definitely get to know them.
Well, we'll get them on, and thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you. I'm glad you survived this. It really wasn't that bad.